I don't know, man. I've been having a good time with it all, especially NXT Battleground. So the event, I mean, if you want my live reaction, you can listen to the live stream from last night. I think it's live show 23. You guys just look that up. It's on YouTube. And yeah, I don't know. The event left a little bit to be desired, which I don't know. The people, the boys in the back, if you will, they all had a blast, which we're gonna go through the aftermath, sort of some clips, some TikToks, what was posted, little things people pointed out that sort of got glossed over, and they had a blast, and this was a pivotal moment for them, and this is a huge W for them. Now the fans are fickle and they're going to boo-boo it a bit, and same with me. I rated it like a C or D. I just said it, not a C or D, pardon me, a B or C. I just felt like there was some to be it didn't quite hit the way everyone thought it was gonna, but it was also an experiment as far as the Las Vegas atmosphere and like running out of the Apex. And I was saying on the live show, this is what WWE is going to show the people who are hiring for residencies, or not hiring for residencies, but you know what I mean? They're looking to make WWE a residency in Vegas. That's something Nick Khan's interested in. And it's like, this is going to be the tape they shop around. Maybe not after that show. Apparently there's, rumors that some of the talent weren't too happy. I think that could all just be dirt sheet speculation. But yeah, I just want to go over some of the, as I write down notes here. So my favorite match, I feel like, was Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez. I feel like they really stole the show. I think the triple threat was really good too. And I think, Dana Brooke and AKA Ash by Elegance showed up at the end. And we're obviously going to get more TNA invasion stuff, NXT versus TNA. And I'm all here for it, man. Like, if we get a whole pay-per-view out of this, I'm down. But let's just take a look at the boys in the back. There was some, digital exclusives, some news to break, if you will, the aftermath of NXT Battleground. Here is Shawn Michaels cooking with TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace and Sexyy Red, hip hop international superstar, Sexyy Red, if you will. And here's like a TikTok or a reel. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty funny.
Order up! I got 2 coming in hot.
NXT Battleground, 5 out of 5-star meals.
God damn, man, we live in the weirdest timeline. You know what I mean? Like, we got Jordynne Grace, TNA Knockouts world champion. She's hanging out with Shawn. They've already talked about it. They're like, hey, let TNA build around you. When you're done there, you come in. You know what I mean? Like, we'll make you a star. God damn, you got to think there's a talent exchange about to happen. I've been saying Natty Neidhart. It makes sense, though, because Jordynne Grace has an open challenge coming up for her title. So it makes sense that, like, Roxanne Perez, because she beat her, and Roxanne Perez wrestled in TNA before. So it makes sense that she is the one who shows up and fights Jordynne Grace, like, at that TNA show. And then Jordynne gets the win back over her. And then who knows? Maybe we see the trilogy down the line. I always bring up the trilogy, but I don't know if they really think about that too much in wrestling as immediately as I do. And that's more being a fight fan, I guess. But yeah, this was funny. It's hilarious how Shawn Michaels is like the meme that we all made of him cooking. Like, he's actually, I don't know. It's hilarious. And then someone asked him about Sexyy Red, and they're like, yeah, you guys are having fun. He's like, yeah, not as much fun as it would have been 30 years ago, but that stuff's hilarious. So then we also saw Gail Kim, who infamously, if you will, eliminated herself from the like the battle royal. It just took herself out and was like, the WWE, I quit. And they're like, you're getting eliminated second. She's like, and but she's spoken out a lot about WWE. She's back, man. At least here at like NXT, they had Gresham, Jordynne Grace's husband in the crowd. Of course, Gail Kim. They had like a whole little TNA section. They had a bunch of UFC fighters in the crowd as well, which was awesome. And yeah, Gail Kim was there, which is, it's a new era if she's there. I saw someone tweet out, so I stole it for my show. Yeah. What? But Gail was there, dude, supporting, and like, I'm not saying, Gail Kim to WWE, but like, put her in the Hall of Fame, that could happen. Is she not? She's not a Hall of Famer. She's in the TNA Hall of Fame. So yeah, put her in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's just good. This is what we need. This is healthy pro wrestling right here. This is what only WWE can do. And yeah, if AEW weren't stupid, this could be AEW. That's what's crazy, right? Like WWE's only doing this with TNA. Well, they have vested interest because of Endeavor now and all of that, but it's just like, this is what, if AEW weren't such like, we're gonna take out WWE, this could have been them. This could be their crossover as like the number 2 that like, okay, let's work together. Let's make stuff happen, Tony Khan. And that's what would have made his dream come true. But he worked himself into this like weird scenario where it's like us against them. And that's because that's how WWE used to be. But then Vince is gone, which he would have been gone regardless. So we would have seen this regardless. Like, even if they didn't sell to Endeavor and shit, and Vince and this shit all came out, what would have happened, right? Like, this shit would have came out with Vince, and then Triple H would have taken over anyway. You guys know what I mean? Like, even if Nick Khan wasn't there, like, Triple H was the next in line. We all know. So it's just, it all led to this point anyways, whether it took 5 years or 6 years or 4 years or 2 years or 10 years, we were getting here soon in the lifespan of AEW. And they just played their cards wrong, man, because even like Gail Kim mending fences, and you like to see that. You love to see that. Also, what other news is hot news, as our friend would say? So here's Forrest Griffin meeting Shawn Michaels, just 2 goats hanging out. You know what I mean? So for those of you unfamiliar with Forrest Griffin, he won the Ultimate Fighter #1 as a light heavyweight, and he and Stephan Bonner threw down in a fight on free Spike TV that it's well documented as the fight was going on. And I'm one of these people who was calling my friends on the phone, freaking out back when we had corded phones, dude. But as this fight was going on, Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner, people were calling each other on the phone going, dude, you got to watch this. The ratings were climbing the whole time. And they literally put UFC, like Forrest Griffin is credited with saving the UFC, right? He's got a forever job. Stephan Bonner, his opponent, unfortunately, RIP. He passed away. He had a bad pill addiction and stuff. And he actually was a pro wrestler himself, Stephan Bonner. You might remember him from TNA. He had a little stint there and on the indies and stuff after his UFC career. But yeah, so Forrest Griffin and HBK meeting each other here at the Apex. And Forrest Griffin, what his job is today is he basically runs he doesn't run it, but he's like the head guy at the Performance Institute, at the UFC Performance Institute. He just sort of like lurks around there and oversees everything at the Apex and the PI. So you have him. And then you have Shawn Michaels, who oversees everything at the PC at WWE. And it's just like, yes. It's just such a good moment here. So
I don't want to run down your whole career because
Michaels goes, I don't want to run down your whole career to you, but this is cool as shit to meet you,
Career because coolest just to watch. You set the bar.
He's just like, you set the bar, and he did, really. Forrest and Bonner really did. They set the standard of like, this is what people expect from the UFC, And Griffin's just such a humble Cool guy. So that's a cool moment just to see them sort of acknowledge me. I got some new sounds on the soundboard, and I forgot the acknowledge me. So there you go. To use a classic.
Dummy, yeah.
So we got news and stuff, guys. We're just gonna talk about NXT for a bit here. Yeah, you guys can see see the top. I know you're all waiting to watch that. So well, let's talk about it right now. So this is what happened afterward. This is a little segment. Sexyy Red and Lola Vice. So Booker T remembers, like, I want to see them have a twerk off, dog. And then like Medusa was like, that's disrespectful or whatever. And then people were kind of cooking Medusa. They're like, listen, dude, Sexyy Red is like, that's her whole thing, is being like super ratchet, and Lola's always shaking her thing, dude. And then so here was just this thing, and then I found it funny. At Nico Extra tweeted out, he's like, NXT when my wife walks in the room, please here, I'll just leave it small, but WWE don't pull me for this. But yeah, here's just a clip. So they're just making it ratchet in the best way possible, as I tweeted out before. She's dressed like Booker T from the Harlem Heat. So Booker T manifested this happening. He said it. It went viral. People got triggered by it. And then Shawn Michaels is like, let's make it happen. And I don't know. I just think it's funny. And then they pull, I forget her name. I'm so sorry. The backstage announcer. They're like, you're twerking too here. I don't want to get pulled. So I'll just like fast forward it a bit. He's like, no, I don't want to do this. But everyone's having fun. This is what I mean. Like the dirt sheets were like, some of the talent were disappointed in the backstage, the setup of the Apex. And it's like, I don't know. They all look like they're having fun. You know what I mean? We got, like, to me. So I don't know. And then we have Cope, like, which we'll get into as well, as you guys can see here. Ibu, backup Hangman. We've cooked him a few times on the show, but here's a little positivity, right? More positivity. So not only are the talent having fun, but here's the wrestling club who have been on this show before. Shout out the wrestling club. Round of applause for everything they're doing. Just getting the youth invested in pro wrestling, dude, and you can't ask for more than that. But here's the wrestling club's reaction to the women's NXT North American ladder match, and Kalani Jordan won. Now that was like my last pick. I didn't think Kalani Jordan was gonna win the North American title, the first ever, like in the history books. I thought maybe Sol Ruka, maybe Michin would win it, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, Fallon Henley's that girl. But I kind of called it. I was like, Fallon Henley, they're not even going to put a belt on her because they're just going to call her up and push her. Like, she could fit on the main roster right now. So I don't know. I thought maybe Sol Ruka, but nah, dude, they put it on Kalani. And I guess that's right, you know, because like it's going to be kind of the mid-card women's title. So Sol Ruka, I think, will be probably more like NXT women's title. But anyways, let's just clip. They're freaking out. I don't know. It's just cool to see kids popping for it like this. Yo, that was sick. Yeah, when Sol Ruka hit the the soul snatcher off that ladder, that was crazy. She's the truth, dude. She's the future. Yeah, they wanted her to win big time. Yeah, wow. So I don't know. Shout out the we'll give him an air horn. The wrestling club. That's the coolest thing ever, man, that they do that in a school, you know? I wish I had that shit at my school. I got made fun of for liking wrestling when I was at school. I got called redacted for liking wrestling at school, dude. Oh man. So and we have like we have Cope. We have Cope from some of the fans, quote unquote, if you will, which I would love to read you guys. And we got news as well. But before we get into that, Jordynne Grace, she got some color in the match, right? Some hard way, brother. And what had people were like, what happened? And what had happened was her earring. Now, I don't have the picture of that. I wish I did. I thought I bookmarked it, but this is more gruesome than that. Now, it's not like gruesome, but look at that big chunk of her ear missing. Do you see that, folks? Can you guys see my cursor? This is her ear missing, okay? And so what had happened was her ear ring got caught in Roxanne's tights, and I even think stabbed into Roxanne's leg, if I'm not mistaken. I could be making that part up, but I saw a photo of it pinched, like in Roxanne's tights, like in her leg. And Jordynne got her earring ripped out, and so she tweets out, very sad to announce that after many years of unproblematic, diligent work, my ear piercings will now retire from in-ring action. And I tweeted under here, "You're a legend." And let's see what the replies were. This Nicole says, "That's a huge phobia of mine. I've never gotten my ears pierced because I just know I would do this doing nothing, like just a danger to myself." Yeah, so there you go. I don't know. Ladies can relate. You don't want to rip your earrings out. So yeah, people were wondering where the color came from. If it was like, oh, did she blade? You know, we were seeing that in the chat during the live show. No, she ripped her earring out in Perez's tights. I might have said Kalani before, but I meant Roxanne Perez. So yeah, shout out Jordynne Grace, man. Just doing great, tremendous work. And but we have haters, dude. People are crying. The dirt sheets are buzzing with rumors and nonsense. And Ebu of Wrestle Purists, I don't know, man. They're like, I'm cool with their posts. Like, people don't need to tweet everything. Look at WWF Counselor. I don't agree with everything this motherfucker says either. You know what I mean? But like, it's just, Wrestle Purist is kind of like Ebu himself is like kind of, I don't know. You can tell he's very, you know, he wants that Will Washington job. You know what I mean? Shout out Will Washington. I'm not hating or anything. It's just he wants that piece of that pie. You know what I mean? You can tell. And so at Backup Hangman, and this dude blocked me because I laughed at him for a video came out where he's like reaching out, like Tony Khan just walks right past him, you know, and he's just always slurping Khan. And then this video, everyone's like, look, Khan just ignores Ebu and walks right past him. And I was like, dude, this is hilarious that, yeah, like, it's not like Tony Khan would walk right past me too, but it's just so funny that, you know, like, I don't know, man. It's just funny. You guys get it. So he just tweets out, Sexyy Red was sent by the CIA to end black people. And it's just like, Ebu, what the fuck are you talking about? So Burying Smarks on Instagram screen cap that, shout them out, and they posted on IG, I guess. All this hate for Sexy is wild. All this dislike for a woman who's comfortable in her own skin kind of reveals certain men's insecurities. Watching oiled up men in tights is cool, but a woman twerking like rent is due is where y'all draw the line. Y'all got to leave that small town mentality in 1955 and catch up to 2024. A little booty twerk ain't never hurt nobody, you dig? Okay, so this guy's like a cool John Moxley. You dig, Scooby-Doo? No, I'm just kidding. But, and shout out Burying Smarks. But I agree, like, there's got to be sexiness in pro wrestling. Like, for a long time, we just completely abandoned that. But then it's like, these dudes are oiled up with their abs or whatever, too. Like, we can't just completely abandon the Scarlet Bordeaux's and the Valets. And if everybody's shaking ass, okay, that's like, what's happening here? But it's just like, that's Lola Vice's gimmick. And then they bring Sexyy Red in because they always do celebrity crossovers. WWE's did that since the beginning of time, since WrestleMania 1, celebrity crossovers. So it's like, if they're going to do that spot, if you'll call it, you know, that segment where she's going to be Ratchet and Lola's going to do her little twerk thing, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it makes sense. And it's just weird to be like, she was sent by the CIA to end black people. Like, what does that even mean? Like, Was he saying that about her music before? I doubt it. You know, it's just to him, it's just always like a wrestling thing. Which is fine, you know. It's just he would never make this comment about Sexyy Red unless she had something to do with wrestling. I assure you. He wouldn't say this if just like her song was number one or something. Maybe he would. I mean, I don't know him, but I just think that, you know, just a weird thing to say. And then WWF Counselor says, if being an AEW freakazoid didn't show that he really isn't about the people, this tweet definitely did. And I don't even really know what that means, to be honest. Yeah, Ibu's just the AEW stan. You know what I mean? It's fine. Let him like what he likes, but it's just not. It's just a lot of these people are coping. So here's some more cope. AIR Gold, who got shit from Dav Boro as well. People go, "Oh, Phil, why do you give these guys shine?" Because it's fun. Because then you know who to block. You know who to mute. You know who the disingenuous people are, and then the genuine people come on this show. You know, like Awful Wrestling. His name's Awful. You'd really think like, you know what I mean? He's just a complete hater, but he doesn't talk out of his ass. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to bite the bullet of just his name. And, you know, if you really give him a chance, you know, like he's not just sipping haterade. He's just, or maybe he is a little bit. Awful's kind of a bit of a cynic, but he's an old man shaking his fist at the clouds. But either way, AIR Gold goes, Ethan Page has the same look, same attire, same logos, a shittier theme song, but WWE fans will no, his theme song is better. But WWE fans will tell you he feels like 10 times the star. He does, because he's actually on television, and that's what Unpaid Critic says. First of all, he is on television. Heavy improvement from his AEW career. Yeah, this is why. Where's All Ego been in the last year plus in AEW? So he does feel like, and no one's saying he feels like 10 times the star. We're just saying he's being given a real chance. And this is how he should be used, as like a position player who's like a gatekeeper to the world title. You know, that's how I see Ethan Page. Like, they positioned him in the right spot, you know? It's not about him gaining anything from NXT. It's or like, yeah, he gains from NXT. Like, I don't want to just boo on Ethan Page. You know, I put him over tremendously, especially on the live show and that. But it's like his job is to help get Trickmore over. You know, that's where, and he knows that. So, and then, but he's being given the opportunity, and he's a guy who can go from NXT to main roster tomorrow, and he could just fit in as like a dude who is like a jobber and shit, if that's what he wants. Like, you know, if he's willing to do that. Now, like, and I don't mean like, I mean lower mid card, you know what I mean? Like jobber, like a kind of, you know, he makes people look good, maybe get a US title run one day, maybe not, maybe you know, that's Ethan Page. So, and I think he understands that, and he's comfortable with that. And another guy who you got to give him an opportunity will make the most of it. So AIR Gold's just coping. Again, these people have arguments with fake people in their heads, you know. WWE fans will still tell you, why do you care what WWE fans will tell you? Why do you care what WWE fans have to say? You know, if your show's so goddamn good, focus on that. But instead, you guys focus so much on WWE and what WWE people are going to think. Because deep down, these guys want AEW to just be the new WWE, but it can't be. And then if it does, you guys will just hate on it. Then you'll start going, oh, no, WWE's the best. Like, it's just fickle clown show stuff, you know? So that's why I bring these guys up. And then you have the dirt sheets as well. So at Wrestle Purists and Fightful Select, there have been other WWE performers who saw their deals come up recently. Oh, sorry, this has nothing to do with NXT. We'll circle back to this. But at Wrestling News Co. report, WWE NXT stars unhappy with UFC Apex setup for Battleground 2024. Wow. I wonder what's up with that. So we're going to take a gander at that screen at Wrestling News Co. And this was written by Andrew Ravens. This is the early word from the show. So I don't believe any of this going into it. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. It's a quick article. WWE made its debut at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday night with NXT Battleground 2024. The show is historic as WWE NXT champion Trick Williams versus Ethan Page headlined, marking Page's in-ring debut for the promotion, while NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez and TNA versus TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace with the NXT Women's title on the line served as the co-main event, a historic match. Kalani Jordan became the first ever blah, blah, blah. It was a much smaller venue for a PLE as it held just over 600 people. WrestleVotes is reporting that NXT superstars were unhappy with the setup at the venue due to floor spacing. The account wrote the following. So WrestleVotes says, well, thankfully nothing came of it. I'm told a handful of superstars were unhappy with the floor spacing around the ring. Last night at the UFC Apex for Battleground, it was noticeably tighter than at standard WWE NXT events. NXT returns on Money in the Bank. Blah, 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 blah.
Liar!
I'm sorry.
Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
I just don't believe any of that. I'm sorry. It reportedly, this is what it is when they make these stories. They just stretch. You give people an inch, they take a mile, right, folks? So what it is somebody chickens in the chat. What it is that somebody told them, oh, wow, it was kind of weird because there was less floor space. Yeah, there was. Yeah. Oh, like a couple wrestlers or whatever did that, and then it got to WrestleVotes, and then they went, actually, people were upset about and I'm not trying to shit on WrestleVotes, but it's just that's what the sheets do. That's what the world does. It's just people get outraged over nothing, and people might even say like, well, your channel's an outrage channel. It's really not. It's just me talking about wrestling. Like, if both companies are doing great, I'm gonna find shit to bitch about. I'm gonna find to put over. My rants where I'm marking out over certain things or people do just as well as ones where I'm trashing and making fun of stuff as well, because that's for sure what happened. Like, oh, they were unhappy. Well, what does disappointed mean? Like, that's what Dave Meltzer does. I just don't think that's true. I bet you they were just a little like, oh, wow, there's not as much floor space. And like, what did they expect? It's usually there's an octagon in there and a smaller one at that. So I doubt anyone was like unhappy to where it was even anything noticeable to even be discussed. Do you know what I mean? Disgusting.